Yes, my people, it is your boy VRD, and we are back for another commentated drive. Today's video, we are going to be taking a 4 carriage class 377 Electro Star back along the East Coastway between Eastbourne and Brighton. In a previous video, we covered the journey between Brighton and Eastbourne, and we're now going to be heading back along where we came from, more or less doing the journey in reverse. So yeah, on our journey today, we are going to be calling at Polegate, Berwick, Gland, Lewis, Falmar, and finally Brighton. So we are going to be skipping Hampden Park, Moulscombe, and London Road stations, I believe. I might be wrong. Let's go in and get set up anyway. So I'm entering the rear cab here, sitting in the seat to take command of the service. I'm going to set the driver reminder appliance. Going to turn the headlight switch into the off position, and I'm going to turn the tail light switch into the auto position. But it can also be turned into the on position. It's up to you, depends on how you're feeling. Also going to ensure that no master key is inserted, ensure that the F&R switch is in the off position. I'm going to exit the cab, and before heading up to the front of the train, I'm going to ensure that we have 2 red tail lights being displayed, which we do. Perfect. So we can now make our way towards the front of this 4 carriage train. Now that we're up at the other end, we're going to take a glance at the lights, and they are off. I don't know why it does that. It's a bit of a bug with the game, but in reality you would have 2 red tail lights being displayed at the moment. These lights wouldn't be off. That is very wrong and incorrect and bad. So we're going to enter the cab, configure the gangway doors correctly. You also wouldn't come across the gangway doors in this state. They would be in this state when you come across them. So yeah, the developers, well, I doubt they're gonna update this considering how long it's been out, but I don't know. Please, just, I would appreciate it if there could be an update just to touch up on some of these things, because they really detract from the immersion of the simulation. We're going to turn our driver reminder appliance, automatic warning system, driver safety device, and vigilance isolation switches into the vertical normal positions. We're going to sit in the driver's seat, set the driver reminder appliance, insert the master key, move the F and R switch into the neutral position, and acknowledge the AWS self-test sequence. Just like so. Now going to immediately set the tail lights to the correct the headlights into the correct configuration. So that would be the day running configuration. And the tail light switch is currently in the off position. It can remain in the off position, or you can also turn it into the auto position. Now that I've turned it into the auto position, I'm going to leave it in the auto position because I'm too lazy to turn it back. This train is bound for Brighton, so we are going to come over to the TMS screen here. We're going to click PIS, and as you can see, Brighton has already been selected, so I guess the driver that was here before done it for us, which was kind of them, but they decided to not turn on the lights, the tail lights. So I don't know, they felt the need to set the destination for us, but they didn't turn on the tail lights. I'm a bit baffled by that. We're now taking a glance at the front of the train, ensuring that everything is being displayed correctly. As you can see, our brighter headlight is shining from the non-driver's side, and our not so bright LED star light. Cool, he's coming in hot. Yeah, that's another thing. The artificial intelligence is very aggressive when it comes to the approaches into stations. I feel like they enter stations a bit too hot. I can imagine that being quite difficult for the developers to fix, because the artificial intelligence literally drives to the speed limit that has been set on the track. So I think the speed limit is currently 25. Yeah, speed limit is 25 miles an hour coming into Eastbourne station. So the train will do 25 miles an hour right until it reaches the start of the braking curve for the buffer stops. So it just looks a bit weird. They come in a bit too fast and brake at the last minute. In real life, a train wouldn't do that. So what was I saying? Yeah, day running configuration is being displayed on the headlights, and destination display reads Brighton Station, which is correct. Gonna return to the cab. Just gonna have another look at our calling pattern here. We are service 1 Golf 37, which is the Ore to Brighton service via Eastbourne. So this train has come from Ore, and we will be taking it onwards to Brighton. And once again, calling at Polegate, Berwick, Gland, Lewis, Falmer, and finally Brighton. So it's about a 40-minute journey. As we can see in the distance, the platform starter signal has cleared to a green aspect, so we can reset the driver reminder appliance. And we're actually at our scheduled departure time as well, so what I'm going to do is take a glance at the CCTV monitors. I'm going to press the door close button. Door interlock light has illuminated. Taking a final glance at the CCTV monitors and a final glance at the platform starter signal, still displaying a green aspect. I'm now going to perform a test of the hill start button as we move off here. I've gone over this test a lot of times, but if this happens to be the first video that you've seen by me, then what you do, F and R switch goes into forward, holding the hill start button, select the off position on the power brake controller, still holding in the hill start button, observe a reading of 1 bar on the brake cylinder gauge, select power notch 1, wait for about a second, release the hill start button, and your brake cylinder gauge reading should fall to 0 bar and your train should begin to roll off. And I'm now going to up the power to power notch 2. And once we get up to 20 miles an hour, I'm going to reduce the power to notch 1 to provide us with a controllable rate of acceleration up to 25 miles an hour. So I'm just doing that now. And we're up to 25 miles an hour, so I'm going to shut off the power. Speed limit will shortly be increasing to 70 miles an hour as we go around this left-hand curve. You might have noticed that the train wow, you might have noticed that the train in the platform next to us drove up to the red signal to stop, because we were obviously given priority out of Eastbourne station over that train. But in reality, a train would not do that. They would just maintain the current position with the doors open until they've been given permission to depart. So they wouldn't close the doors and then drive up to the signal and stop at the end of the platform. That is unrealistic. I don't know why. Anyway, so we passed the 70 board there. I was just waiting for the full length of our train to be clear of that, but it should definitely be clear by now. What I'm going to do is apply power notch 2 and accelerate up to 30 miles an hour. At 30 miles an hour, I'm going to perform a running brake test. So up to 30 miles an hour, I've shut off the power again. I'm going to select brake step 2, 50% braking. In other words, observe the speed fall by 10 miles an hour and release the brakes, waiting for that brake cylinder gauge reading to fall to 0. And then I'm going to go into power notch 3 just for a bit, because we are currently driving in the leaf full season, so I'm not going to apply too much power too early. Now that we're back up to 30 miles an hour, finally going to, okay, I'm talking too fast. Once we got up to 30 miles an hour, I went into power notch 4, also known as full power. And we are now accelerating up to 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. I'm going to drink some water. I'm speaking faster than my brain can process what I'm trying to say. I need to try to work on that. I'm about to drink some water, guys, so apologies if you can hear me drinking the water in the background. Always drink water, guys. literally all I drink is water and coffee. You'd think I'm lying, but honestly, like, you guys need to jump on this water thing. It will change your life. Anyway, we got up to 67.5 miles an hour, so I've gone down to power notch 2 just to have a nice controlled rate of acceleration up to 70 miles an hour. We are on fairly level terrain at the moment, so we don't need to. We can comfortably accelerate all the way up to 70 miles an hour without having to worry about any sudden acceleration. So we got up to 70 miles an hour. I've shut off the power. That was Hampden Park Station that we just passed through. This is, I think it's called Willingdon Junction. The line diverging off to the right goes up towards Hastings and Ashford and all of that. And we passed a board with the number 80 in it, so the speed limit is now 80 miles an hour. So I've gone back into full power. I just acknowledged an AWS alert regarding a warning board for a reduction in the speed limit down to 35 miles an hour. So shortly after passing that warning board, make a brake step 1 application, and that should bring you down for the 35 mile an hour speed limit on a fairly decent deceleration curve. We're going a bit too fast, so I'm gonna up the braking force to. Okay, brake step 3, brake step 3. Wow. And now that we're down to 35 miles an hour, I've released the brakes. Yeah, so maybe get the brake step 1 application in as soon as you pass the board, providing that you're traveling at 80 miles an hour. It's been a while since I drove on this route and I haven't done a practice run or anything, so I'm a bit rusty on the speed limits and whatnot. Alright, that could have ended badly, but luckily the speed boards are positioned a bit in advance of the curve or whatever it is that they are associated with. Anyway, we've entered Polegate Station, so I've just made a brake step 1 application on entry into the station. Our speed rolled down to 30 miles an hour by the time we got to the platform there. I'm now going to up the braking force to brake step 2 as we are approaching our stopping position. Now momentarily releasing the brakes back into brake step 1. You can see the stop board coming up to brake step 2 again, back down to brake step 1, releasing, and up to brake step 1 for the stop. Stopped with the stop board in the porthole window, which is perfect. Now that we're at a stand, brake step 3, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. Whew. And we're more or less on time. I think we're pushing towards being a minute late, but I'd say we're still fairly on time at the moment. Right, checking the signal, we have a green aspect. Checking the CCTV monitors, pressing the door close button. Door interlock light has illuminated. A final glance at the signal and the CCTV monitors. F and R switch into forward, and we're on a bit of an upward gradient here, so I'm going to use the hill start button just to move off here. So into power notch 1, releasing the hill start button, taking a final glance at the monitors there as well, upping that to power notch 2, again just being a bit gentle on the acceleration here. Notch 3, and up to notch 4. speed limit is now 90 miles an hour. It went up to 90 miles an hour just before Polegate Station. I forgot to mention that. And our next station is Berwick. Right, so I'm warning you guys in advance. I feel like I'm gonna mess up the approach to Berwick Station because it's just in this direction. In this direction, Berwick Station is just. I always struggle to stop at it. I don't know why. It's just there's not a lot of trackside landmarks that you can use as a breaking point. It's a bit weird. So that was the second signal out from Berwick Station. So the next signal that we're gonna come across is the signal that protects Berwick Station. So I'm shutting off the power now. We did more or less get up to 90 miles an hour, which is the speed limit at the moment. And I'm gonna get a brake step 1 application in about now, just as the signal protecting Berwick Station comes into view, and I'm most likely gonna have to up that to brake step 2 at some point. I just don't know when. So I'm gonna up the braking force up to brake step 2 about now. Speed limit has gone down to 75 miles an hour, but that does not affect us. And here we have the platforms of Berwick Station, and we have an entry speed of 30 miles an hour into the platform, which is kind of on the faster side. Yeah, up to brake step 3. And we've flown past the stopping position. Look at that. Back down to brake step 1 for the stop. I told you. Anyway, now back up to brake step 3 now that we're at a stand. F and R switch into neutral, and we have a door release on the left. Yeah, I just always struggle with the approach into Berwick Station in this direction. It's just so weird. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing you can use as a breaking point. You're just gambling. Right, we don't have a platform starter signal, but the last signal that we passed was a green aspect. I remember it because of the traumatic approach into Berwick Station. But if you didn't remember the signal aspect, you can always look at your AWS visual indication there. If it's blank, that means you passed a green aspect. If it is displaying the cautionary indication and you can't remember the last aspect of your signal, you're gonna have to depart a lot slower than usual to expect the next signal to be a red aspect until you can see otherwise. I nearly ran out of breath. And I'm stood here waffling while the passengers are probably getting quite irritated with me because they've probably got places to be. Glancing at the CCTV monitors, pressing the door close button. Door interlock light has illuminated. Final glance at the CCTV monitors. A final glance at the non-existent signal, F&R switch into forward, and we are on an upward gradient departing from Berwick Station in this direction. So I'm going to use the hill start button to move off. Up to power notch 2. Notch 3. And notch 4. Speed limit has now gone back up to 90 miles an hour. So the 75 mile an hour speed limit was just for that short section of track through Berwick Station. Next station is Gland, and luckily, unlike Berwick, I have a very decent braking point for Gland Station, so I don't have to worry about that. Sounding the horn there because we passed a whistle board. Apologies if you can hear some sort of background noise as well. What I normally do is I record my videos early in the morning, so just to try cut down on the background noise, but I'm not doing that today, so apologies for that. But from next week, that shouldn't be an issue. I'll be back on my regular schedule from next week. Right, so not too far from here, in about a mile and a half I'd say, we're going to have a reduction in the speed limit down to 80 miles an hour. So I'm only going to accelerate up to 85 miles an hour, and then I'm going to shut off the power. And that should allow our speed, our momentum I should say, to gradually die off, and our speed should fall down to 80 miles an hour. Just in time for the commencement of the speed limit. So I've now shut off the power. So you can see we're going around the left hand bend. We've got a nice little arch bridge that we just passed underneath. There's going to be another arch bridge that looks extremely similar to the first arch bridge. That second bridge is where the commencement of the 80 mile an hour speed limit is situated. So we've more or less rolled down to 80 miles an hour now. You can see the second bridge coming up. And there's the 80 board. And after passing beneath that second bridge, you're going to enter a straight section of track. The first signal on this straight section of track is where you want to get your brake step 1 application in for Gland Station. We're stopping at Gland, right? Okay, cool. That would have been embarrassing. Gonna up the braking force to brake step 2. I was daydreaming quite significantly there, so now up to brake step 3. Okay, this is a disaster of a commentated drive. This is not going well. Still in brake step 3, reducing it to brake step 2, down to brake step 1, releasing, and up to brake step 1 again for the stop. Well, at least we stopped on the stopping position this time, but the brake step 3 application, oh gosh. Up to brake step 3 now that we're at stand, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. Yeah, this is probably one of my worst commentated drives yet on my channel. I'm trying to think. Actually, no, the East Coast mainland one is probably the worst. When I flew through Grantham Station. No, that was hilarious. I can't lie. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I think it's the, what was it? It was my first East Coast mainland video. I just absolutely flew through Grantham Station because I wasn't reading the speedometer properly. That's just go watch the video. It's actually hilarious. Um, right, green signal, CCTV monitors, door close button. Door interlock light has illuminated. A final glance at the signal and the CCTV monitors. FNR switch into forward. I'm not gonna bother using the whole start button this time. We'll just go straight into power notch 1. Still making sure that that brake cylinder gauge reading falls to 0 before going above power notch 1. Now going up to power notch 2. Notch 3. And finally power notch 4. Next station is Lewis. Right, so the speed limit is currently 80 miles an hour. It's going to be decreasing to 70 miles an hour, and then shortly after that it will be decreasing to 60 miles an hour. And in fact, not long after it decreases to 60 miles an hour, it will go down again to 40 miles an hour, and then not long after that it will go down to 20 miles an hour, and then instantly after that it goes down to 10 miles an hour. So the approach into Lewis station is sort of like some mad aeroplane landing. It's weird. It's very weird. So now that we're on this straight section of track, we can prepare for the reduction in the speed limit down to 70 miles an hour. I'm going to make a brake step 1 application now. 70 mile an hour speed limit commences just after this signal here. And I'm going to remain in brake step 1 to bring us down to 60 miles an hour, because the 60 mile an hour speed limit commences on the other side of this junction here. This is, I can't remember the name of that junction, Sovereign Junction, there we go. You can see we had the 60 board there that we just passed with a warning board for a further reduction in the speed limit down to 40 miles an hour, and that warning board had an associated AWS indication, and we just acknowledged another AWS indication regarding some other warning boards here for a reduction in the speed limit down to 20 miles an hour, but 10 miles an hour for trains that will be diverging to the left. So that 10 mile an hour speed limit does apply to us. I'm now maintaining the brake step 1 application. Speed limit is now 40 miles an hour, so maintaining the brake step 1 application allowed us to decelerate to 40 miles an hour to comply with that speed limit. And this is the signal protecting Lewis station here. You can see we have position 1 junction indicator telling us that we'll be diverging off to the left. At the AWS magnet associated with that signal, I've gone back into brake step 1 to decelerate for the 20 mile an hour speed limit on the approach to Lewis station. And then I'm going to remain in brake step 1 for the 10 mile an hour speed limit for our turnout route to the left. Whew. And the signal protecting Lewis Station was displaying a single yellow aspect, so we can expect a red signal at the end of Lewis platform. Oh my goodness. But obviously, when you're actually driving the route without commentating, you don't need to actually overthink like that. But because I was commentating, it actually did get quite overwhelming with all of those speed limit changes. So I've just gone into brake step one again, just to step our speed down. Stopping position is coming up, just trying to get that in the window there. Alright, we just about managed to stop in the correct place. Brake step three, neutral. We have a red signal, so I'm setting the driver reminder appliance, and we have a door release on the left. I'm gonna drink some more water. And we're 3 minutes late, but our signal is red, so this makes no sense. Again, I think this is just an issue with the game. I think the developers, the East Coastway really needs an update. I feel like, and there's actually a lot of people that have been talking about this on YouTube. Like the East Coastway could do with an update and a cheeky extension maybe up to Orr or something. Some people want it to go all the way to Ashford, but I think that's overkill. But up to Orr would actually be quite nice. Because then you could have the class 375 as AI. Even a 171 wouldn't hurt. Actually, do the 171s still run on the East Coastway? I think there's a chance they got taken off. I don't even know. I'm never down. I'm never down in the Brighton, Eastbourne area. Last time I went Brighton was in 2013, so it's been years. I should probably go down there again, to be honest. So here you can see the reason why our signal is being held at a red aspect. We had a train that had been routed to cross over in front of us into Lewis platform 5, which is unrealistic signaling. Considering that we were due out of this station 5 minutes ago, we should have been given priority over this train, so I'm not sure. Again, it's just a bug in the game that the developers seem to not be bothered about. I'm gonna stop slamming the developers because I feel like I do that a lot. That sounded wrong. Green signal. Resetting the driver reminder appliance, glancing at the CCTV monitors, pressing the door close button. You always want to wait for your signal to change from a red aspect before closing the doors, but everyone knows that. Maybe you didn't, but you know now. Next station is Falmer. Door interlock light has illuminated. We have a green signal. Glancing at the CCTV monitors again. FNR switch into forward, and we are on fairly level terrain, so we're not going to use the whole start button this time. Into power notch 1. Up to power notch 2. Keeping in mind that the speed limit is still 10 miles an hour, so I'm going to reduce the power back to notch 1 as we get towards 10 miles an hour, and shutting off the power now that we're at 10 miles an hour. Speed limit increases to 55 miles an hour, about 100 yards or so ahead of us. In reality, I think it goes up to 55 miles an hour at the bridge that we just passed, but in the game it goes up to 55 miles an hour just there. You can see the board coming up. So just waiting for the full length of our train to be clear of that 55 board before we accelerate. Someone's knocked on my door. Sorry guys, 1 second. And we are back and active. Where were we? Yeah, we should be clear of the 55 board by now. So I'm going into power notch 3 to begin accelerating up towards 55 miles an hour. Next station is Falmer, and between here and about a mile out from Falmer Station, we are going to be climbing. Now going up to power notch 4. Yeah, we're going to be on a very steep climb up towards Falmer Station, and then it becomes a continuous downward gradient between Falmer and almost all of the way into Brighton, but about a couple miles out from Brighton it becomes an upward gradient, I think, for a bit. I can't remember, I haven't driven this route in ages, but we'll soon find out. So we got up to 50 miles an hour. I'm gonna reduce the power to power notch 2. That should balance us out at around 55. Speed limit is shortly going to be going up to 70 miles an hour. Can see the 70 board now, so I'm going straight into full power. Now that we're up to 70 miles an hour, I'm gonna reduce the power to notch 3, bearing in mind that we are still climbing quite severely, so we're gonna need to constantly maintain power to maintain 70 miles an hour. So notch 3 seems to be balancing us out at 70 miles an hour, but we're not too far out from Farmer Station, and we are about to pass over the summit of the climb. So I'm shutting off the power now. This substation here on the left marks the summit of the climb, so we're now on a downward gradient, and the speed limit reduces to 60 miles an hour on the other side of this tunnel. But around the area of that substation is a good place to get a brake step 1 application in for Farmer Station, and I'm probably gonna need to up that to brake step 2, because once again I left the braking a bit too late. So yeah, I'm gonna up that to brake step 2 from now. You want to exit this tunnel at around 35 or 40 miles an hour, and from there a brake step 1 application will bring you into Farmer Station on a decent deceleration curve. Obviously I exited the tunnel at a bit faster than 40 miles an hour, so I remained in brake step 2 for a bit longer just to compensate for that. And Farmer Station is on a severely downward gradient in this direction, so you want to have a significantly lower entry speed than normal into the station. Now up in the braking force, back to brake step 2. Now back down to brake step 1. You can see the 4 carriage stopping position coming up. Just trying to have a nice controlled approach. Gonna momentarily release the brakes, but not for too long. Up to brake step 2 and back down to brake step 1. Stopping with the stop board in the window there. Now up to brake step 3, neutral, and we have a door release on the left. Right, green signal. Glancing at the CCTV monitors, pressing the door close button. Our door interlock light has illuminated, taking a final glance at the signal and the CCTV monitors. F and R switch into forward, and we are on a downward gradient, so we definitely do not need the hill start button. Selecting power notch 1, notch 2, and we're going to have a significantly higher rate of acceleration due to the downward gradient that we are currently on. Up to notch 3, and finally power notch 4. Speed limit is 60 miles an hour, shortly increasing to 70 miles an hour. And our next and final station is Brighton, and we're going to be passing through Morecambe stations and London Road stations between here and Brighton. So you can see the speed limit is now going up to 70 miles an hour. It's going to remain at 70 miles an hour for about 2 miles, then it's going to come down to 55 miles an hour, and about a mile after that it's going to come down to 30 miles an hour for the approach to Brighton station. So we got up to 70 miles an hour. I've shut off the power. We are still on a downward gradient, and yeah, remember now it becomes an upward gradient shortly after Morecambe station, which is the next station that we're going to pass through. It becomes an upward gradient until about London Road, which is the final station before Brighton, and then it levels off at around the London Road area for the approach into Brighton. I think. So this is Morecambe station that we're passing through now. You can see we had a warning board regarding the reduction in the speed limit down to 55 miles an hour. So I'm going to make a brake step 1 application for that now. I'm going to up that to brake step 2 because I can already see the 55 board coming up. Back down to brake step 1. And we were down for the 55 mile an hour speed limit just in time. Acknowledging the AWS alert regarding a 30 mile an hour speed limit warning board, and the commencement of that 30 mile an hour speed limit is shortly after London Road station. So I'd say about now is a good place to get a brake step 1 application in for that. I think I was incorrect about the gradient as well. We still seem to be on a bit of a downward gradient. Again, I've said this like 10 times, but I haven't driven on the East Coastway in so long, so my route knowledge is all over the place. This is London Road station that we're passing through, and the 30 mile an hour speed limit commences literally right on the other side of London Road station. You can see the 30 board coming up now, and we're down to 30 miles an hour, so releasing the brakes. So that brake step 1 application was actually bang on. Impressive. This is London Road Viaduct. Acknowledging an audible AWS alert regarding this signal here. This is the signal protecting Brighton station, so its least restrictive aspect is a single yellow aspect. Shortly before passing that signal, get another brake step 1 application in to decelerate down to 20 miles an hour. As you can see, that is the speed limit for the entry into Brighton station. And the signal had a number 6 in the theatre box indication, so that tells us that we have been routed into Brighton platform 6. As we get closer to the platforms, I'm going to make another brake step 1 application to decelerate down to 15 miles an hour for the entry into the dead end platform. And about midway along the platform, I'm going to make another brake step 1 application to decelerate down to 10 miles an hour. And as you know, 3 carriage lengths away from the buffer stops, you don't want to be doing more than 12.5 miles an hour because of the TPWS grids. A final burst of brake step 1 to have us down to 5 miles an hour, a carriage length away from the buffer stops. And from here, we're just going to have a series of small brake step 1 bursts to bring us to a stand as the buffer stops disappear beneath the windscreen. Perfect. We're at a stand. Brake step 3, neutral, setting the driver reminder appliance because we are at a dead end. And we have a door release on the right, so I'm crossing over and activating the door release buttons on this side of the cab. Right, now that our doors are open, FNR switch goes into the off position, removing the master key, turning off the headlight switch. Tail light switch can remain in the auto position, but you can also turn it into the on position if you want. And I'm turning the relative safety system isolation switches into the horizontal isolated positions and exiting the cab. Final thing we're going to do is ensure that we have 2 red tail lights being displayed, which we do. And that concludes this commentated drive. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Constructive feedback and criticism is more than welcome in the comment section below and is highly appreciated. If you'd like to further support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I will catch you guys in the next one. Love.